I used to believe that if my life wasn't falling apart, like everything should be fine, right? Like I should be grateful. I should just keep going. And I tried to convince myself that what I had was actually enough. And maybe on paper it looked like it was, but I didn't realize at that time that like I wandered straight into what I call the fine trap, and it's this quiet compromise I made to like just keep things like I'm okay with things and how they're going, and that I was okay with that slowly draining the life out of my dreams that I didn't realize I had completely buried. And so today we're talking about how you can spot when you've started settling and how you can break out of that dangerous comfort zone that feels safe, but it's like quietly suffocating who you really are. I like to call it the mediocrity breakout. And so welcome to the Giver Method channel. My name is Jake, and I'm so glad that you're able to join me today. Now let me ask you a few things to see if this sounds familiar, if this connects home with you. Maybe life looks decent from the outside. Your job is stable, your family's fine, your schedule's completely packed, but inside you are flat. Like you're going through all the motions. Maybe you're not in crisis, maybe you are, but like you're also like you're not lit up either. Or maybe you've caught yourself thinking like I should be more grateful. Like things aren't really that bad. But at the same time you feel that low hum of restlessness. Like you've stopped dreaming, like you stopped going after whatever motivates you, like you're shrinking in a life that just doesn't fit you anymore. Or maybe you're just quietly asking yourself, is this all? Is this it? Like, I don't feel like I belong here. While you're carrying the guilt, like of even maybe asking that question. If that's you, let me say like this loud and clear, hopefully it connects with you. Like you're not selfish or ungrateful. There's absolutely nothing wrong with you. Like you might just be stuck in that idea of like everything's fine, right? And like fine can be like can fool all of us, right? It can fool you into staying stuck for years because it doesn't wave red flags. It's not like, oh my gosh, every house is burning down, we got to do something. It just whispers. It tells you like, yeah, this is good enough. This is what being grown up looks like. This is what you should want. But here's the truth, that fine trap, like, gosh, and the longer you sit in it, like the more you're going to become disconnected, and you become a version of you that still wants more, like for your life, for your relationships, for your impact, but you're just disconnected from it all. So whether you're a parent who's showing up for everyone else, and everything, but you feel emotionally absent from life, like that you thought that you'd be modeling. Or maybe you're the entrepreneur who built something that like it works, but no longer feels aligned with your original vision. Or someone who is working at a steady job, just grinding away that looks great from the outside, but feels like it's draining your creativity or your purpose every single week. Like if that's you, all of this is for you. This message, I want to make sure it hits as clear as possible. Like, because like that fine, like it isn't neutral. It's actually eating away at you. It's eating away at your dreams quietly. And the longer you stay in it, the harder it is to remember who you were before you started shrinking. And so I want to unpack that with you today. Now, my name is Jake Talbert. I am the founder and author of this book called The Giver Method. It came out last November. Since coming out, it has sold thousands of copies. It has tons of 5-star reviews. Now, the biggest thing, I think is it's going to make a drastic impact in your life. I highly recommend you go get yourself a copy. Whether you want to go down the description, click the link to go straight to Amazon, get yourself a copy, or you just pause the video, open up your Amazon app, and go get yourself a copy of The Giver Method by Jake Talbert. I recommend you get it. Like right now, it's only $2 to $10. So $2 for the digital, $10 if you want the actual physical book. This is the best $2 to $10 you could invest in yourself. All right. Now, the reason why people love the book, why so many people buy it, why so many people leave great reviews, is the fact that, like, two things. Number one, the entire book is grounded in my story, and I've walked very similar paths to you. I'm a parent, I've got 3 kids, I'm an entrepreneur, and I've worked in that corporate atmosphere. So I've walked very similar paths as you and felt a lot of those same feelings as you. And so I know what that's like, and a lot of the details and stories connect with where you're at. The other thing is that all of the chapters, each one and everything throughout the video, has action items and exercises that you can go do that are designed to fit into your life as a busy parent, entrepreneur, someone who's working away. Like, you can't burn it all down. You can't just move to the mountains to go find yourself. And so everything's designed to fit into your busy life, stuff that you're already doing, and continue to see that impact. Once again, the Giver Method, it helps people find their gifts, superpowers, create more influence and impact in their world, more value for the people they interact with, deeper relationships, better communication. And once again, why not go for that sort of idea where you have better connections, live a more fulfilled life with more joy and more delight. So go get yourself a copy. Like I said, links in the description, or just pause and go to Amazon, look up the Giver Method. Like I said, though, a lot of it's going to be grounded in my story, and I know this idea of the fine trap because, like, for years, I lived this. Like, I built the responsible, stable life that I was supposed to. And I checked off all the boxes you expect you to, but like one day I woke up and realized like I couldn't feel much of anything anymore. And that was kind of a wake-up call for me. Not because life was falling apart, but because it wasn't. Like, it wasn't there. And I still, like, I felt deeply unfulfilled, even though everything looked okay. So I want to unpack this with you. I want to walk through the Mediocrity Break-Out. Like, there's 6 different principles, strategies, ideas, things that you can do to help you to recognize when you're settling for good enough, and how you can use that discomfort you're feeling, not as like a shame or to push yourself back, but as like that wake up and that motivation forward. Because what most people don't know is there are tons of studies and data out there that people living in this like fine experience, like there's higher levels of depression, higher levels of anxiety than people who are just like going through actual crisis. Just being fine, your brain finds worse things to happen, even though you may not be in crisis. Like, fine doesn't activate urgency, it numbs it, and it keeps people stuck where they are, you know? But not anymore. I don't want you to be stuck anymore. So as we walk through these 6 principles that are helping other parents, entrepreneurs, and employees, like people like you, break free from that quiet like holdback and start living in a way that actually feels alive again, all without blowing up their life. This isn't about being reckless, it's about being real. And when you live in alignment with who you really are and what lights you up, your gifts naturally get reactivated. You start creating value that energizes you. My gosh, your impact into the people around you goes up, you know, and you're finally get out of being stuck in that like fine zone, okay? Once again, if you want to dive deeper, everything we talk about is grounded in the GIVER method. It's on Amazon, or go to thegivermethod.com, find more resources, ways that we help people, free resources, our newsletter, things like that. All sorts of, like I said, thegivermethod.com. You can go find us. I'll put in the description. You can find us on social media under the handle The Giver Method on Facebook, TikTok, Instagram, LinkedIn, or here on YouTube. And once again, like if you're tired of navigating this by yourself, and if you like want personal support breaking out of this sort of like fine trap, I've opened up a few one-on-one coaching positions coaching slots where you could come and work with us one-on-one. So there's a link down in the description, talks about coaching. You can go to that page, check out all the details, book a call if it makes sense for us to do that. Now, you may have a podcast or a team or a stage or a mastermind group or some sort of space where people are craving honest growth. Then I'd love to bring a message like this to them. There's a link down below for speaking and podcasting. And of course, if this is something that hits home today, drop a comment. I'd love to hear what landed. Like the video, subscribe, of course, and ring that bell for notifications. That way I can keep showing up, keep delivering great content for you. Because this is just the beginning for you. So let's jump in. Let's start like calling like fine what it really is, and let's start waking up our life again. And so the first principle that we're going to dive into, like it's wake up call number 1. Like, fine isn't safe, it is soul numbing. We're going to dive deeper into this idea. You know, it's that dangerous lie that smart and capable people will tell themselves. Like, I did it, and you probably have done it yourself. They just think like, I'm fine. Not terrible, not amazing, just fine. And that's exactly why it's so dangerous, because when things are falling apart, like, you need to make a change. You need to do something. But life looks stable on the outside. When your job is paying the bills, the kids are okay, the calendar stays full, like, it's really easy to convince yourself that fine is enough, that we're okay, things are good. But the truth is, like, that's a trap. You know, it's that quiet, it's where burnout comes from. It doesn't come from like these massive alarms going off. It just slowly erodes away at your dreams and your energy and the sense of who you are. Your nervous system literally rewrites itself. You know, your programming in your brain rewrites itself to accept mediocrity as the normal. That's why you start feeling emotionally flat, not devastated, not joyful, just like numb. And it's like you're living with the volume completely turned down. And you've forgotten like what real aliveness even sounds like. And the worst part is, like, you call it being responsible in many ways. You call it so many different things. You tell yourself that you're being grateful or mature, or when you're really like, you're just disappearing slowly and silently, all in the name of like trying to keep it together. So let's talk about, like, here are the things you can start doing to start waking this back up. The first is you could run a energy and engagement check where you think about different areas of your life. Maybe it's work or relationships, parenting, creativity, and you ask yourself, like, does this give me energy? Am I genuinely engaged here? And rate yourself on a scale of 1 to 10. Maybe you do this in a journal, a notebook, on an app on your phone. Like, if you keep rating something, maybe a 5, a 6, a 7, on multiple places, like, maybe that's like, it's not working. Maybe that's in the fine zone. Maybe it's wearing you down and more than you realize. And then second, like, do that Sunday night gut check where every week you notice, like, do I feel anticipation about the week ahead? Or do I have a low-key dread that I just can't explain? That's one of the most honest indicators whether or not you're living aligned with who you should be and who you want to be, or are you just living in that default programming? And then you could take 20 minutes this week and you could do like a dream dig, a dream archaeology, and ask yourself, like, what did I used to love doing before life got really busy? What did I daydream about before I started convincing myself to be more realistic? What version of me have I just buried under all of the roles that I'm trying to perform and put on a show for? Once again, we're not doing nostalgia here. We're just looking at the inner compass, trying to reroute you back to where you need to go. Because fine doesn't just keep you stuck. It slowly rewrites your identity and convinces you that dreaming is a luxury, that fulfillment is for later on, not for right now, and that purpose is a privilege you just can't afford. But you're not here to manage your way through life. You're here to live life fully, honestly, aligned, authentic. And that starts by just stop calling things fine enough. Start listening to that inner voice that's been trying to wake you up for a while. Now that leads us into the second principle, the cost of staying comfortable. Let's just talk about that. There's a hidden price for staying inside of that mediocrity. Something that most people never really calculate is what it's actually costing them to stay stuck in that life that's just fine. Most of us just assume the risky choice is taking action. That's going to cost me time or energy or money or whatever. They starting something new. Something they really want, but it's shaking things up. But the truth is, the riskiest thing you can do is to stay exactly where you are, not changing. Because the real danger of fine is that it's unbearable. It's just sitting there making you believe that you can stand it, that it is bearable. It shouldn't be. It doesn't scream at you, it whispers. It slowly chips away at your energy, your confidence, your connection to who you really are. This is at the compounding cost of settling. This is just all adding up. You don't feel it all at once, but what it builds in the background. And then one day you just wake up wondering, where did your passion actually go? And so here's how you can calculate what that cost, that fine is costing you. First, write 2 letters to yourself. First one from maybe 5 years in the future if nothing changes, and the other one from 5 years in the future if you start moving forward with what actually lights you up, and be realistic. It's not about perfection, or planning this dream life. That's not what we're talking about. It's just about seeing on paper the emotional weight of settling versus the emotional reward of pursuing something real, even if it's just a little bit. If I could make this little change, how would that compound over time? And then check in on your, there's this legacy cost, asking yourself, what are the people around me learning from the way that I'm living right now? If your kids, your team, your friends modeled their life after yours, would they thrive or would they settle? Would they be proud of where they're at? Would you be proud of where they ended up? Now this one gets real quick, okay? And finally, gosh, you could do some energy accounting where for a few weeks, pay attention to where your energy actually goes. Not just your time, but your energy. What parts of your day leave you feeling depleted? What relationships, tasks, habits exhaust you? But even though you're technically they're working, they're doing what they're supposed to. Because the hidden cost of fine is that it drains the energy of what you could be using to build the life that actually fits you. Because staying where you feel that, staying where you are it's not safe where you are. It's expensive. It's costing you energy and clarity and joy and your example to others. And what's wild is we don't even notice it's happening. We think we're being responsible, when really we're just slowly training ourselves and those watching us that dreaming isn't worth it. And you deserve more than just fine. The moment you see the real cost of staying stuck, you're going to realize that pursuing what excites you isn't reckless. It's required, and you need to start taking action today with that. Now, our third principle is don't ignore the nudge. It's there for a reason. Pay attention to it. It's not a character flaw. It's somebody that's trying to tell you something. There's that quiet discomfort that you've been feeling, that little voice that whispers this isn't it. This doesn't feel right. You keep shaking it off because hey, life's not bad. It's not terrible. We got a roof over our head, people you care about. There's paychecks coming in. So why does it feel like you're still coming up empty? Here's the deal. Wanting more doesn't make you ungrateful. It means you're just, it means paying attention. That's what that looks like. That restlessness, that's an inner guidance system that's pointing you back to yourself. It's not whining. It's not selfish. It's your soul saying hey, we've kind of outgrown this, and you know it. It's time to move forward. The problem is that most of us are taught to treat dissatisfaction like it's a flaw. You're not if you're not thrilled with, fine, you're ungrateful. Well, be happy with what you have. But let me flip that for you. Maybe pretending to be satisfied when you're not is the real problem. And so here's how you start listening to the right kind of dissatisfaction, like how you start looking for those things. So the first thing is like, there's that dissatisfaction, like where you got to diagnose it first. And the next time that blah feeling comes in, ask like, is this restless asking me to create something new? Or am I stuck just venting without direction? Because there's a big difference. One's an invitation and the other is a trap. Like, listen for those. Second thing, grab a notebook, open up your notes app, and start like a restless journal. You know, when something feels off, jot it down. What specifically feels misaligned right now? You know, what would feel more true in the moment? And you don't need to fix it. Just capture it. Pay attention to it. You're going to notice clues like your future self has been trying to leave for you along the way. And then let's talk about gratitude. I'm not knocking gratitude anyway. I believe deeply in gratitude and being grateful for everything that you have. But too many people use gratitude like it's a muzzle. You know, so try this instead. I'm deeply grateful for what I have. I am grateful for these things, and I'm excited about what I'm creating. I'm excited about who I'm becoming. I'm excited about the path that I'm on. That and gives you permission to evolve. Gratitude and growth, they are not enemies. They're teammates that should be working together. And then lastly, check your values. If like freedom, creativity, impact, whatever is like, if these are your core values and your life doesn't reflect that right now, and of course, like you're going to feel off if that's the case. That's not dissatisfaction. That's alignment trying to get your attention. Be like, hey, we got to get back on track here. And you can do it with slow little steps. Because when you stop treating dissatisfaction like it's a red flag and just see it as like, well, there's some indicators here. It's a roadmap. Everything will open up for you. That energy that used to go into suppressing the feeling, you get to redirect into creating something that actually fits you, something alive and something real. Your restlessness, it's not a flaw. It's feedback. It's saying like, hey, you're made for more, and you know it. Let's go attack that. And then our fourth principle, all right, it's all about this idea of like, when you forget who you are, like it's going to happen. That happens to all of us. Like if you've been stuck in this place, and then really how you get back, like how do I get back to who I was or who I need to be? You know, who you are beneath all the roles and responsibilities and under the layers of just fine. Because one of the sneakiest side effects of living in that like zone of fine is how easy we forget like who you are outside of the roles you play. You wake up one day and realize like, well, I become the parent. I'm a parent. I'm the manager. I'm the person everyone counts on. Like you're doing all the things, but somewhere in there, like you got lost. And this isn't about some big identity crisis. It's way more of a subtle than that. You didn't wake up and decide like, hey, I'm going to abandon myself. And it's happened in like millions of these small moments that have come up for you. Skipping the thing that you love to make space for everyone else's schedule. Shelving your dream because it wasn't the right time. Biting your tongue to keep the peace. And slowly you stopped living as you and you started maintaining everything else around you. And the worst part is most people don't even notice it's happening. When you start feeling tired in a way that like sleep just doesn't fix, numb in a way that gratitude can't cure, that's when you know. That's when like you're not in burnout from doing too much. Like it's draining from expressing too little of who you really are. So let's start bringing you back. Let's start bringing you back online. Let's bring you so that you're more present in those moments. You know, the first thing, like one of my favorite things is this check-in that you can do. Complete, like you're just going to complete the following sentence. You know, beyond my role as a fill in the blank, as a parent, an entrepreneur, an employee, a, you know, community leader, whatever. Like I'm someone who, and then just list out 10 things, anything. You know, I'm someone who loves deep conversations. You know, I'm someone who lights up around music. I'm someone who cares about justice, whatever. Like just list them out. Like if this feels hard, don't worry. It just means that it's time for you to start reconnecting. It means that you need to actually put in the work to go find what those 10 things are. Just write them out. And then next you can try this thing called like an identity integration moments where like that finding those little ways to bring more of who you really are into your everyday roles that you already have. Maybe you're naturally a funny person. How can you bring humor into a team meeting or a bedtime routine? Maybe you're a natural encourager. Can you use your gift in a way at the next one-on-one with your manager or in a conversation with your spouse? Like whatever that looks like. Then carve out time for like your personal dig, like your personal archaeology, where you're going to spend some time, like no big production. Maybe it's 10 minutes, 20 minutes, 30 minutes to just sit down. Like what used to make me feel alive? What hobbies or ideas lit me up before life got so full? And let's go revisit some of those. Not childish or unrealistic. Like we're going to approach them as if they're data because they're breadcrumbs back to your authentic design. And then the last thing there's going to be to create space for your authentic expression time. Like this is the this isn't just like, it's not me time, right? For the sake of just escaping. This is you giving yourself a real chance to show back up, even if it's for 15 minutes a week, doing something that feels like you, writing or drawing or walking or learning or praying or breath work or whatever. Like, you can start to rebuild the connection of that. You're not trying to become someone new. You're just reintroducing someone that you've always been. Because when you reconnect with like who you actually are without any sort of the roles tied to it, beyond the expectations, you're going to start showing up with more energy and clarity and joy. You become more present, not just in life, but like to the people who matter most to you. You stop performing, like trying to put on some sort of show, in life, and you start living within it. That's the moment that FIND starts to loosen its grip on you for good. And then our fifth principle, like, you have to wake the dreamer back up. You got to rebuild that muscle that you forgot you had, like, in a very authentic way. Like, what are those authentic desires we have? And this might hit home for you. Living in FIND for too long doesn't make you, like, it doesn't just make you tired, right? It makes you forget how to want things altogether. And I'm not talking about the surface level stuff. I'm talking about the deep soul level dreams. The ones that you carried around with you before life got crowded with all the to-do lists and responsibilities and all the reasons why they didn't feel practical anymore to you, right? This is what I call, like, you're stuck without a dream, right? And if you've been feeling like everything in your life is fine, but nothing really lights you up anymore, like, that's not because you've lost ambition. It's because your dreaming muscles, like, they just got stiff. If you haven't used them in a while, like that happens. Like, but good news is, like, the spark is still there, and we can bring it back. I tell people all the time, like, I ran 6 years in a row. I did 6 marathons in 6 Januaries in a row. And every year it would be, you run it, you kind of do a little bit of running afterwards, and then, like, you kind of fall off the training path. And then it gives time to start training for the next one, and you get back on the training path, and it's like, well, I'm going to go run this far. But you're not going to run the same thing. You're not going to be able to run the training runs you used to do. You're not going to be able to go run the long runs. You got to start small and work your lungs back in and get things moving. Well, the same is true with your dreams. We just got to find that spark and start to bring it back and bring those dreams back online. So here's how you start waking them back up. The thing I would begin with is, once again, like, I'm big on, like, let's go back and let's do some archaeology. Let's do some digging. What's your dream ones? Block out 30 minutes this week and in a notebook, just start digging. What did you used to dream about before you had a job or kids or the business? What would you have done if time or money or approval wasn't, in the equation? Don't judge any of it. Just excavate, just look and get as many ideas out on paper as you can. And then you could do, like, some what if sessions, like, for 10 minutes, like, just spend 10 minutes in a day. Let yourself imagine, no plans needed. You don't need to go try and figure it all out. Just like, hey, what if I actually gave myself permission to want what I want? What if I gave myself permission to do this? What if I changed that part of my routine? What if I created that thing I keep thinking about? Once again, it's not about the logistics of it. It's just about breathing life back into vision. Like, what could that look like? I don't have to go figure that out. I'm just starting to put life back into it. And then start doing the desire reps, okay? When you hit a decision point in your day, pause and ask yourself, like, what do I actually want here? Right? Not what's the right answer. Not what's expected of me, just like what would feel honest and alive, even if it was small things. What you eat, how you spend your break, what you say yes or no to. And the more that you flex this, the more you start remembering what you actually care about. And then you can start doing, like, dream, like, integration experiments. Like, you don't need to blow up your life, to honor some forgotten dream that you have. You just need to build some bridges to it. If you used to dream about exploring the world, like, go discover a new part of your city this week. If you dreamed about writing, like, block off some time and just open a doc, start writing some ideas. Like, if you wanted to help people, like, go volunteer for 20 minutes, 30 minutes, an hour. Like, these aren't compromises. They're just breadcrumbs back to the life that actually fits you. Because your dreams, like, they're not silly or selfish or unrealistic. Like, they're instructions. They're fingerprints of your authentic self trying to see again. And when you reconnect with what excites you, even if it's, like, just a whisper at first, you start showing up with more energy and clarity and presence. You stop just maintaining that life, going through a management mode, and you start building one that actually, like, feels like it's worth living. And that truthfully, for all of you, is how you make, like, the FIND impossible to go back to. And that leads us to the sixth principle. You gotta take action. Just start walking. One honest step beats 10 perfect plans all day long. Like, this is something that is a truth that changed everything for me, and it has helped so many other people. You don't need the full map. You just need to start. Start the walk. Start going. I used to think like I had to figure it all out before I could move. That I had to know exactly what I wanted and would pay out. Like, what's the 100% surety of what like this step would produce? And what I learned is you see it over and over with people that we've worked with, that we've talked to, the stories we've collected. Clarity doesn't come before action. It becomes because of action. The reason so many people stay stuck in that fine isn't because they're lazy or scared. It's because they're waiting for perfect clarity, timing, perfect conditions. And those, they're never going to come. I promise you that. Fine lets you stay frozen. Action, that's aligned with who you are, even if it's messy, even if it's small, gets you moving. So here's how you start, even if you don't know what your whole path is. So the first thing is the one real step, this exercise, one real step exercise. Ask yourself, what's one thing I could do this week that feels a little more true to who I am or who I'm becoming? Maybe it's saying no to something that drains you. Maybe it's spending a few extra minutes to, looking at the dreams that you've shelved. Maybe it's telling someone, close to you, hey, I think I've outgrown this part of what I'm doing here, and I would love your support, as I move things forward. But once again, it doesn't have to be big, huge things. It just has to be honest. And then try thinking like an experimenter. Instead of asking what if this doesn't work? Ask yourself well, what if this helps me learn something? What could I take away if I put this into practice for the next few days, the next week, the next month? What could I learn? Just use it as a test. See if it feels more aligned to who you are. The goal isn't perfection, it's progress. And then you build a rhythm into your week. So you've got these weekly alignment actions you can do, where every week you commit to one thing that honors your values, uses your gifts, and energizes you. That could be, expressing your opinion in a meeting, or finally dusting off that journal, setting boundaries that you've been avoiding, whatever. Over time, these stack up and you start to see yourself differently. You start to trust yourself again. And then here's a big one. Start tracking what you're learning. Start tracking what you're seeing. What patterns are there? Not just what you're achieving. Every aligned step, check in. What did I learn from this? How does this feel more like me? What gave me more energy? Once again, we're not looking for productivity. We're just looking how do we reconnect in a way that we can find that compass that's inside of us, pointing us in the right direction. Because how you reclaim life from the fine isn't a perfect plan. It's no 10-step blueprint. It's no thing you buy from somebody. It's just willingness to move. And when you start taking action that actually matches who you are rather than who you're pretending to be, you build evidence that changes not only possible, so it's not only possible, it's working. And here's the wild thing. There's tons of data and research that shows people that take small aligned actions, even in uncertainty, experience way more momentum, faster fulfillment than those who wait for any sort of clarity to hit them. So no, you don't need to have it all figured out. You just need to stop asking permission and start walking towards what feels more like you. Now, here's what I want to leave with you, and I say this honestly from the deepest part of my heart. The exit ramp from feeling fine, okay, just dealing with life, that exit ramp, it starts right now, here. Make the commitment. Fine isn't neutral. It's not harmless. It's just that quiet burnout that doesn't set off the alarms. It slowly dulls your spark. And yeah, I get it. It's easier to just stay put when things don't feel terrible, or when you can't figure things out. But just because something isn't a full-blown crisis doesn't mean it's where you're meant to stay. You weren't built for numb. You weren't designed to just manage life. You're designed to feel it, to light it up, to stretch it, to live within it, to create something that actually fits you and who you really are authentically, not just what the world expects you to be. And the truth is, you don't need to blow up everything to begin. You just have to figure, you don't have to go figure the whole thing out, right? You have to define your entire purpose by next week. You just stop calling things fine or good enough. Gosh, that's where things will shift. And these 6 things we talked about, they're just invitations. There's 6 ways that you could crack open the shell of mediocrity and let your real life breathe again. Whether it's that spotting the fine trap or the hidden cost behind it, reframing the restlessness, remembering who you are, waking up the parts of you that still know how to dream, taking any honest step that feels like you. Once again, this is not theory in any sort of way, and this is not woke or woo-woo things. This is true movement. That's how people get their lives back. I mean, if you're a parent, like, let me say this real clear. When you start living with more authentic place, your kids feel it. You stop modeling survival. You stop modeling, like, you start modeling the aliveness and excitement that kids thrive on. You show them that adulthood doesn't have to be one long list of obligations. And that's okay to pursue, like, it's okay to pursue what lights you up so that they want to do that as well. That it's actually worth doing these things. Now, if any of this hit home for you, you want to dive deeper, whatever, then I'd love for you to go over and get yourself a copy of the GIVER Method on Amazon. Like I said, I'll put the link in the description right to the book. Go buy yourself a copy, $2 to $10, best you could invest in yourself. It's packed with tons of tools and stories and exercises that help you break out of that fine and start building the life that feels real and is energizing to you again, even if you're juggling a million responsibilities. Now, if you're wanting that personal support, then that's where I've opened up some one-on-one coaching spots. I'd love to dive into that with you and walk you through what that looks like. So if you having someone in your corner who's walked a similar path, with more clarity and courage is going to help you, then check out the link about coaching in the description. And then if you lead a team, you host a podcast, you run a mastermind or whatever, a community, an event, and this message is something you like to bring to, your people, or a message like this, then let's talk. I'd love to bring this work to them, in very real and grounded and life-giving ways. And of course, if this video gave you something to think about, drop it in the comments. I'd love to know what your biggest takeaway is. I love to read them. It helps me know what's landing for people. And of course, like the video, hit subscribe, ring that bell for notifications, because like I said, I record videos all week long. I'd hate for you to miss out on one of my future videos. Now, here's the final thing I want to say. You're not stuck because you're broken or something. You're stuck because you've adapted to fine. But that's not the whole story. Like, that's not the end of your story. It's not even close. Your dreams, they're still in there. Your gifts, like, they're still alive, and we can turn them into superpowers. Your purpose is still possible. The exit ramp from that fine isn't somewhere out there. It's the next step, like, honest step that you're willing to take starting today. You are so much closer than you think. I look forward to seeing what you can create when you start to take those steps forward. And so with that, I will tell you to have a great rest of your day, and we will catch you in our next video.